Hey everyone, Jen is here. I'm here with my coffee and we are going to work on getting ready for Create With Us. We have heard from you guys that you would love to see how we prep our kits and do our homework for the free online classes that we host. So instead of doing a quick short video, I thought I would just do a process video for you guys. Please let us know in the comments if this is something that is helpful, that you appreciate. Again, we'll see how it goes. I am going to film this in real time, so that way you will know just how much time it might take you, and that way we can craft together longer. So it is so fun to get together with all of you during Create With Us, which are the free mini classes that we host right here on Lawnfawn's YouTube channel. So why not get together some more? And I don't know about you guys, but homework with friends is way more fun. So let's go ahead. I'm going to flip my camera and we're going to get to the prep work for our Cozy Cats Create With Us. Okay, so these are the really fun cards that we are going to be creating during our Cozy Cats Create With Us, which is a free mini class right here on Lawnfawn's YouTube channel. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And the way that I like to get started is to stamp my images first. So I have some pieces of Nina 80-pound white cardstock that I cut to fit into my mini die cut machine. I find it a lot faster to use a mini die cut machine when I am dealing with a lot of smaller images, which is often where we live in Lawnfawn land, right? So we're going to be using the new Cozy Cats stamp set. There is Cozy Cats Christmas add-on, and you guys could most certainly work that into your designs if you would like. I really try my best not to have the amount of supplies that we're using be too many. I know my nickname is Jennabler, but I am keeping into account your budgets. And with that being said, as Kelly Marie and I often say in our during our classes, if you guys don't own the Cozy Cats stamp set, go hunting through your stash. Do you have some other kitties? Do you have some other critters? You can incorporate other, characters into the designs that we're going to be creating. So you can always, always, always substitute. So I did use every little kitty on both cards. So I'm going ahead and putting each of those on here to stamp them. I also added a little ball of yarn. And then we also are going to do some speech bubbles. So we're going to start with each of them right now, and then we're going to stamp another one of them again. So again, this was all the kitties, the ball of yarn, and the speech bubbles. And so I'm going to go ahead and stamp these with my Lawnfawn Jet Black ink. This is my most used ink pad ever, whether I'm coloring with my Copics, which are alcohol-based markers, or I am watercoloring. I am using this ink. It is my favorite. And so I'm going to go ahead and stamp these images, and I like to stamp them a couple times. And I'm just going to do one more time. They look great, but I don't know. I'm feeling like just adding one more impression. All right. So now, like I mentioned, one of our speech bubbles, we need two of them, and it's this long, skinny one. So I'm going to just take that and place it right here. And I'm going to use my Lawnfawn stamp Shammy and clean up these stamps because we're all set with them right now. And I'm going to be a good creative chick and add them back to the stamp set. So as I mentioned, as this video was starting, many of you guys have asked us to share the process of getting these kits put together. And you had kind of asked us to do like a little reel or a short video. But I absolutely love teaching, and I love teaching you guys. And I was like, a short video is we're just gonna get a lot of comments that it is too fast. So I was chatting with Shari and Kelly Marie, and I was like, I really just think I should do a homework video in real time. I'm not going to edit this down. Oh, my paper shifted. See, I'm not going to edit this down so that you guys can just create your kits right along with me. So I'm going to get another piece of paper here, and we're going to stamp one more of these rectangular speech bubbles, and hopefully it won't move on me this time. This is, real life behind the scenes here. I need to clean my sticky mat is where we're at right now. But there we go. We got our second speech bubble, and I'm going to go ahead and put this guy back. So now what we're going to do is die cut all of these images. So I keep my dies on the magnetic boards that lawnfawn sells. They're really cute teal on one side, and they fit in the stamp pockets perfectly. So that's the way that I like to kind of keep my stuff organized. And I hold my dies in place with Spellbinder's Best Ever Craft Tape. This is a low tack tape. And what I love about it, yes, I have a massive washi tape collection. What I love about the Best Ever Craft Tape is you can use it over and over and over and over and over and over. As you can see, my pieces of Best Ever Craft Tape, I have stuck to a bin right next to me here, and they've been used over and over and over. So that is what I am using right now. And we're going to get all of these dies in place. And then we're going to go ahead and run it through our die cut machine. Just seeing here what more we've got here. I just realized I forgot to stamp the little heart steam for the mug. So we'll do that on this second piece when before we die cut that one. We'll get all of these guys all situated first. I love this little kitty with the earmuffs. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. And if you are new to me, I teach a lot of lawnfawn classes over on my website, shirkus.com. We'll put that link down in the caption. But I love all animals. But I'm team cat only because that's what we have right now. So we have two kitties, Jack and Gus Gus, and they're both black cats. And so when this set came out, I was so excited, so excited. And yeah, very, very excited. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and die cut this strip of images. And before I take those dies off and put them away, I'm going to stamp the other steam that we needed. I forgot what I was looking for. I'm looking for the stamp set. Here we go. And there's two cute little steams for your coffee cup. There's a little heart one and a non-heart one. I'm going to go for the heart one. It's too cute and it's so sweet. So we're going to put that on there. And we'll go ahead and stamp this a couple times. And these teeny little stamps from Lawn Fawn, I barely touch the top because if you press too hard, it kind of smashes the little lines down and they won't look as crisp. So I rather quickly ink it like I am a couple times to get a nice dark impression instead of like really pushing hard, because then it's just going to kind of look smushed. So yeah, so there's our little steam. Can't forget that. Let's see. Just looking. I have a little plastic piece I put in here and I've lost it. This is real life crafting, you guys. Real life crafting. All right, I'll just set this aside. It's clear. Oh, here it is. See, it's clear, so that's the problem. Okay. So the reason why I waited as I was before I took the dies off is just a little tip, and I'm always prepping a lot of images, a lot of kits. As I take a die off, if I want double, which I know many of you guys will prep more than these 2 card kits, you might do doubles. I would take the die and place it on that second image just to be a little bit more efficient. So the way, what I'm explaining is, so the rectangular speech bubble here, I'm going to take this guy off and then immediately put it down on the next one. And I know that might sound like a silly little tip, but when you are prepping a lot of things, every few little tips like that add up to making it go by a little bit faster. So now I'm taking that little heart steam die and we'll get that into place. Apologies if my head is on camera. Okay, and then the rest of these, like I said, we only needed 1 of each of these. So we're just gonna pile them up and put the dies back. And this Best Ever Craft tape, I have a plastic bin next to me holding supplies, and I just kind of stick these little pieces of tape to it. I have them on my die cut machine. They're everywhere, but that's what I love about the Best Ever Craft tape is I just use it over and over and over again. Okay, so we will go ahead and die cut this one. Love having a smaller machine. I just think it's faster for these little images. It just kind of makes sense, especially if you're doing a lot. And if I can find room on my craft table for that machine, anybody can. If you guys could see off camera right now, it's not a pretty sight. We'll just say that. All right, so then my tip that I share, we are going to be coloring these during the class. And most of these images are fairly large, but I think sometimes it's a little tricky to hold on to the image and try to color, and they kind of move all around. So again, with the Spellbinders Best Ever Craft tape, I take off a big piece. And anytime I have a new piece off the roll, I actually like to touch it to my skin. Not my pants, not my shirt, but my skin, because we have oils on our skin. And that just takes one more little bit of stickiness off of the tape. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach all my images that we're going to color during class to this tape. And that way we'll have a larger piece of real estate to hold on to as we're coloring. You're not just holding on to the one little image, right? And so like these speech bubbles, I can kind of stack them. Right? Look at this guy. We're not going to add color to this little steam, but I don't want to lose it. So I'm just going to stick it right there on the tape and then I will be sure that it is good to go. Now what I do, because again, I often prep these kits fairly far in advance to get the information out to you guys, is I will just take this like this, kind of just bend it, and then I just tuck these into a clear bag that I use to hold my cards and protect my cards. And there we go. We're ready to go for the class. All right. Okay. Next up, we have some pattern paper prep to do. And the new All the Sparkles pattern papers are so adorable. First of all, I love the color palette, and I just love like the stripes, but then we also have like that fun foil. This is a perfect chance, if you don't have this pattern paper pack, to shop your own pattern papers and see what you have in your stash. But for now, I am going to pull out this light gray lined paper. I am also going to pull out 2 of the black striped papers. So there's one, and I should have another one in here, even though I already made a set of cards. Let's see here. In the front. Oh no, I don't. Okay. Let's see. I thought I was going to have. All right. I am going to use a piece of 12 by 12 because I don't have another 6 by 6 paper pad. So, which is totally okay. But before I get that, I'm going to grab this gold star paper. And I actually often use the 12 by 12s more than the 6 by 6 paper pad. For this reason exactly, is I'm usually making multiples and I can get more from one sheet of 12 by 12. And with a 6 by 6 pad, you kind of go through the papers faster. So the way the 12 by 12 papers come is they have the foil on one side and the lines on the other. So I'm just going to grab my paper trimmer that can cut 12 by 12 paper. And I want the lines to go horizontally across the card. They're both going to be vertical cards, but I do want the lines to go horizontally. So I'm going to remember that. But for now, I'm just going to cut this into a 6 by 6 panel. And there we go. It'll be totally fine, whether you're using the petite paper pack or the 12 by 12 papers. And lawnfawn's 12 by 12 papers come in a small pack. I think it's 10 sheets, 12 sheets. Or you can get a collection pack of the 12 by 12 papers where you get a few of each pattern, okay? So we've got one of the light gray lined, we've got 2 of the black lined, and then we've got 1 of the white gold foiled sparkle, all right? So the first thing that we are going to do is with our light gray line, we are going to cut this down to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And again, I want my lines to go horizontally. So I'm going to go over to 4 1/4. And then I'm going to turn and go to 5 1/2. Okay. And then with our one of our black lined papers and our gold foiled papers, we are going to do the same thing. So I'm going to go to 4 1/4. I wanted them to be horizontal, and 5 1/2. And we'll do the same thing with this guy. This is the trimmer I use mostly, unless I have to cut something 12 by 12. I love this little trimmer. All right, so we have 3 4¼ by 5½ pieces, and we still have this 6 by 6 piece, which I do know. So the first thing that we're going to do is let's go ahead and take this 6 by 6 piece. And I am going to be using the stitched scalloped rectangle frames. And I'm going to be using the largest size, and we're going to die cut that out of our other piece of black striped paper. Now, that's for this card right here. And again, we talk about this a lot during the classes, my classes and the free classes. You can substitute. Maybe you don't have the scalloped frame. Maybe you just have the regular stitched frame. Maybe you don't have that. You could trim this panel down to be shorter. Right now it's 4¼ by 5½. You could trim this down to be 4 by 5¼ and then have a little bit of a layer of this behind. This is where, again, we really, 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 really want you guys to shop your stash and use what you have. And if you're new to Create With Us, you'll start to see I use a lot of the same supplies over and over and over within the Create With Us classes and with my online classes. So if you are enabled to want to treat yourself to a new supply, especially something like a frame or a background, you're going to see it again in another class. All right, my big die cut machine is just off camera over here. So I am going to go ahead and just die cut that. There we go. Saving this tape for another go at it. All right. And this is a nice piece. We could definitely save that for another project. And I am going to grab my pokey tool here and just kind of poke through to get this paper to start to lift. My stitched rectangle die is very loved. I've had it for a long, long time. So I like to kind of lift underneath like so and just kind of get it started because I don't, this is pattern paper and I definitely don't want it to rip. But this die has been used to make many, many, many kits over the years from all of my traveling and teaching. So there we go. And don't worry if, you know, taking this out of the die, like it's a little wonky like this, we will deal with that in class. Like, don't even worry about that. What I am going to start to do is start to put things together. So these two items are going to go together into a clear bag because they are for one card. So I'm going to go ahead and slide those in, and that'll help it start to flatten out. And now we are going to work on the pattern papers for this card. So this is using the Winter Wonderland window die, and we have used this before in a previous Create With Us. So I thought I would bring it back. If you don't have this specific die, you could use a stitched oval, a stitched circle, a stitched square, create your own little window. You know, be creative, have fun with what you have. So when I am die cutting this window, what I like to do, it is 2 pieces, And all of these snowflake pieces also come apart. I just have kept them in there because it doesn't hurt to cut them and use them on other projects. But what I like to do is whatever my layer is for the outside, that is what I'm going to cut first with this window. And you want to position this exactly where you want it on the card. So what I'm going to do is I want my window to be a little bit higher up, so there's a little bit more of a border at the bottom. I don't typically measure, but I know that some of you are out there saying, Jen, just tell me the measurement. So let me see if I can get an approximate measurement for you guys. So it's about 7/8, a little more than 3/4. So just to give you an idea on the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and take that Best Ever Craft tape to hold this in place. But again, I just eyeballed it. I just knew I wanted a larger border at the bottom than at the top. And I really don't want this to move. So I'm just going to use all these little pieces that I have right here. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and die cut this on my big machine that's off camera. It's nothing fancy. I mean, I love it. It's the Spellbinders Platinum 6. But I have like a little bit of an L desk, and so it's just easier to keep it over there. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and move this window. And we'll do the second layer. And the reason why I like to do this one first is because I'm using it for, for positioning, okay? And I love just that sweet little dot detail you get around the frame. It's so pretty. And so now we're going to use the snowflake part on this piece here. But the way we want to do this is we want to line these two up. You can even go as far as taking a little bit of tape, right? And just kind of hold it in place. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the snowflakes. And again, we do not need these inner snowflakes. I typically die cut this out of Lawnfawn's Pixie Dust Cardstock, which is a really pretty white sparkle cardstock. So in that, scenario, having extra sparkly snowflakes is totally awesome. All right, so I'm just centering this within my window. And I'm just taking some tape to hold it in place. Okay. And now we'll be able to remove this black pattern paper. We don't need that through the die cut machine. We just used it for our positioning. Okay. I'm looking at this. I'm just going to put some tape on the outsides. All right. So we have this in place, and we're going to go ahead and die cut. All right. So now we will be able to see how cute it looks all together and layered. And again, pattern paper is an easy thing to be able to substitute. So shop your stash if you don't have these specific papers. But we're going to just gently, I should use my pokey tool. It's funny, on taping, I'm going to be more careful, especially when I'm doing this in real time with you guys, so I don't rip it. But Real life, I would have taken a chance and then got mad when it ripped. This is just really delicate, and this is just pattern paper, which is like, I think like 80 or 65 pounds. So you just want to be careful, you know, as you're pulling it apart. Cardstock, you don't have to be as careful. The pixie dust sparkle cardstock, you don't have to be as careful. But all of these extra little snowflakes that die cut, you could use those on another project. Save those. You could decorate the inside of your card with them, which I also think is a really fun idea. But yeah, this is just the cutest. Look how cute. And then when you layer it, I just love that look. I am going to take a minute, so I don't need to do this during class, but any extra little pieces on the inside of the snowflakes, I'm just going to go ahead and poke those out now, kind of as part of our prep work. They're all die cut. They just need just a little push so that they're ready to go. Yeah, awesome. Okay. So I am going to take these two pieces and I'm going to put it into another clear bag, because this is our second card kit, or the starts of our second card kit. Okay. So we've got this and this so far. Now, our background for this card, we are going to do some ink blending. And my favorite cardstock for ink blending is Distress White Heavy Stock. It's a really heavy 130 pound, bright white, super smooth cardstock. So that's what I'm going to put in here. But whatever white cardstock you like to ink blend in or on, you want to just put an A2 panel in there. So it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And so there we go. And then the other prep work I want to do ahead of time with you guys, especially since I'm doing a homework video, is we're going to go ahead and white emboss our sentiments now. I sometimes share it during class, my steps of how I get a really nice crisp white emboss, but I also sometimes have it part of the homework. It just kind of depends on the flow of the class. But I think especially since we're doing a homework video, I thought it would be good to share it during that. So for the black cardstock, I'm using a piece of lawnfawn's black licorice cardstock, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut this into 4 A2 panels. So 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is kind of how I store my little bits after it's no longer an 8 1/2 by 11 sheet. But we're really only going to need one of these. All right. And I am going to use my stitched banners, which are always not far from me. And let's see, which stitched banner? I guess I used the wider one. Yeah. So we are going to use this stitched banner right here. This one is 3/4 of an inch wide by 4 1/2. And we're going to go ahead and die cut 2 of these banners. So I am going to make sure I give myself space, and you'll kind of see why in a couple minutes. But so I'm going to cut one banner, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut my second banner. All right, use that pokey tool to get our little banner out. So there's one. And then again, I'm going to space it out a little bit. It might look like I'm wasting cardstock, but I have a reason, and I'll share that. I'll share that as we go. And so here we are. I am die cutting my second one. You can see just how many times I use these same pieces of Best Ever Crafting. I kind of laugh about it because they get pretty teeny tiny, and that's when I'm like, Jen, you really could treat yourself to another piece of Best Ever Crafting. All right. So now that we have our 2 black cardstock stitched banners, we want to white emboss our sentiments on them. So the way that I like to do this is I'm actually going to put this piece that we die cut from right back into my stamping platform. And I'm going to go ahead and take one of those banners and put it back in place. And the reason why I do this is so that we have something to hold on to. If you're kind of just putting your banner in here, it's a little bit harder, I think, to hold on to the banner with tape or a magnet or what have you. This way you have a little bit more to hold on to. Okay, so for our first sentiment, I'm going to do have a perfect day. And of course, you guys can do whatever sentiments you would like. So I'm going to get out have a perfect day. I am going to add an exclamation point, but I'll show you how I add those after. And I love that with lawnfawn sentiment stamps, they kind of just are already in rectangles. So you just need to like touch them to each other to get a really nice spacing. Now, obviously, my sentiment's a little bit too far to the left. I can see that. So I'm just going to kind of start to nudge it this way. Get it centered. That looks pretty good to my eyes. And actually, before I do that, because I am going to add the exclamation point, I'm going to just gently go back to this way a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and pick those stamps up, and the grid on my stamping platform door really helped me to see if it's centered. Now, because my stamps are new, see how it pulled the banner out? I'm not worried about that. I'm just going to put it back into place. Once we get ink onto our stamps, that won't be a problem. I kind of anticipated that was going to happen. Okay. So we've got this back in place, and we have a perfect day. So what I like to do now is grab that exclamation point and just add it at the end. I don't like to try to do it first because I find the exclamation point is so skinny. It like wobbles and it doesn't cooperate. So I like to put it on at the end after it's on my door. Okay. Okay, so now what we are going to do is do some white embossing. And white's tricky because sometimes you get like little flecks of white. I'll give you my little trick that I do if I do still get them. But, and I always want to make sure I can try to get a really nice crisp white embossing. So what I do is I like to use the Cottontail powder tool. It's an anti-static powder tool, and I wipe it onto my banner. This is going to help get rid of any of that static cling. And I also just think it helps melt and emboss the powder really nicely. Next, my trick for white embossing is instead of a Versamark ink pad, which is that clear sticky ink pad, or even an embossing ink pad, when I want to do white embossing, I like to use a white pigment ink. So this is the lawnfawn Yeti, which is a really awesome white pigment ink. So I'm going to go ahead and ink up my sentiment, and then I'm going to go ahead and stamp it. And again, all sentiments, I'm barely pressing down on my window, or my door. Sorry, my window. And then my other trick for white embossing is I always like to stamp this a couple times. And the reason why is, my theory is, the first time you stamp this ink onto this cardstock, a lot of the ink is going to soak into the cardstock. So I like to stamp this, I don't know, this was, I think, my third time. I'm going to do 4 times. I do 2 to 4 times so that the ink is really sitting on top of the paper to really hold on to the embossing powder. Okay, so there we go. We're going to go ahead and pick up this banner. Just set this aside for a minute. And we're going to use our white embossing powder. So I'm going to go ahead, and then I like to just tap the banner with my my spoon, just to kind of knock away, and then I'm going to do it again. Okay. Now I am seeing a line that's like from where the tape was. I'm not super worried about that. Sometimes if you see little bits, you could kind of touch them away. But I leave them. I'll show you a little trick that I do once we get this embossed. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my tweezers just to hold on to this. And I like to turn, I'm using my embossing gun. I like to turn it on a few seconds before I put it to the paper, and just to kind of warm it up. And then when I put it to the paper, I make sure that the paper is raised from my table so the heat can bounce off of my table, and also heat it from the back. So as I see the embossing powder start to melt, I am going to move up my sentiment. You don't want to keep your embossing gun in one place too long. All the way to that exclamation point, and then just kind of run it back and forth a couple times. All right. So if for some reason, after all of those steps, let's see if we can get that to focus for you guys. If after all of those steps, there is any little, excuse me, any little white dots, what I like to do, and let's see, I'll zoom in and I bet then it'll focus for you guys. What I like to do is I just take my, my micron pen, and I will just color over those little white dots. Again, the static powder really, really helps. We would have so many more white dots if we didn't do that. But just the couple that are there, I just take my pen and go right over them. And again, this line here is from the powder, and that'll go away as our skin touches the banner and wipes that powder away more and more. Okay, so that's one sentiment banner. We're going to go ahead and do our second sentiment banner. Let me just back up again for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this one. I like to make sure I wipe it really well with that pigment ink on there, getting into the grooves. And the next one is going to be have a cozy winter with an exclamation point. So I'm going to take my second banner that I die cut. I was looking for it on my messy desk. We're just going to go ahead and put that in place into our little template here. right? And then I'm going to start to line up, have a, and we're going to do cozy winter. And again, I love how easy it is to line up lawnfawn sentiments just by touching them together. It's going to give the perfect spacing between the words, which I went to school for graphic design, so I appreciate that. And now I'm looking left to right. I do think it needs to go to the right a little bit, but I am going to put an exclamation point there. So it doesn't quite look centered, but I know it will once I get that exclamation point. We're going to close the door down. Again, it might pull up that banner, kind of get it back into place. And I'm going to go ahead and place my exclamation point right at the end of that sentiment. Okay. So again, we're going to use our powder tool and go ahead and dust that banner. Maybe a little bit better than I did last time. Maybe we won't get any little marks. It also depends on the weather. I have windows open. Is it humid? Is it dry? All the things, right? And then again, I'm using that lawnfawn Yeti white pigment ink. So I'm inking up my sentiment and I'm just oh, look what Jen did, guys. Live crafting. I put my exclamation point at the beginning. Oh, I cracked myself up. Okay, let me just quickly die cut another banner. Oh man, you guys can all just laugh at me. I'm going to keep this in real time. Oh boy. Clearly I haven't finished my morning coffee yet. That's why. That's what I'm going to say. Oh, Jenn Shirkus. Okay. Here's my banner. Let's get that. Let's clean these stamps. Let's try this again. See, we all do it. I do it more times than you guys know. It's all good. It's just paper, right? All right, so let's do this the right way. So it's have a cozy winter. And this is going to go down here. Much better. Much better. We'll pull this banner out. Again, just cardstock. No big deal. And we'll put a new one in. And I'm going to dust it with powder. Second, this one's not going in. There we go. Now, because I was like touching it with my skin and everything, right? My skin leaves oils behind. So that's one of the reasons why you want to kind of use some sort of anti-static powder. All right. So using the lawnfawn Yeti ink, we're going to go ahead and ink this up. Gently, gently, gently pressing. Don't press too hard so you'll get a nice crisp sentiment. I love this scripty font. It is so cute. And I am going to do this 3, maybe 4 times like I did the last time. That worked out well for me. But you can really see by stamping it multiple times, the ink is really sitting on top of the cardstock and not all of it is soaking in. So we're going to go ahead and take this banner out. Don't worry about cleaning your stamp right now. Just worry about getting the powder onto your sentiment, the white embossing powder. I like to tap it with my spoon because that's like kind of like a hard surface to a hard surface, and it helps things fall away. Okay, so now I'm going to hold this with my tweezers. We're going to turn on our embossing gun. And then I'm going to just go ahead and stay in one spot, but as you see it start to melt, you're going to move up the sentiment. And you'll see it's going to get shiny. It's going to kind of fill in a little bit. But you don't want to keep it on there long once it's become shiny, because it'll start to kind of melt into the paper. And I like to leave my cardstock up above the table, because the heat is going through the cardstock. It'll bounce off my table and come to the back as well. So it kind of heats it from front to back. And now we have a cozy winter. So let me go ahead and just clean my sentiments and put them away. And then we just have one more little thing to do. See, this wasn't bad, and hopefully you're having fun laughing at me. You know, it's all good. I'll take it. But hopefully you're having fun getting ready with me, right? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put these sentiments back so they're ready for the next project. So if you are watching this and getting ready for Create With Us, I typically will offer online classes that coordinate with the supplies that we're using during Create With Us. So you can get even more ideas with the supplies that you have purchased. And my online classes are really affordable. And so we're going to be using Cozy Cats for my winter class, and that will be in early December. You can find details over on my website, shirkus.com. But I am using the caroling mice for my holiday class. So, but don't worry, we'll be using Cozy Cats for sure. So we're going to put these banners in their kits that they belong with. So have a cozy winter. I'm putting it in with the one with the frame, the scalloped frame. And then have a perfect day is the one with the snowflake frame. Okay. Trying to get in there. What? Okay, there we go. There we go. All right. So now the last thing that we're going to do ahead of time, and I was channeling my Shari Moss, is we're going to add some little tiny hearts to our cards. And I did silver sparkle cardstock on this card here, and I did the gold sparkle cardstock on this card here. And so we use the tiny hearts and tags die, which I know I have right over here. So I have mine in a pocket like this, all the little hearts and stars and the little tag die. I'm going to go ahead and take out the 3 sizes of hearts that it comes with. And again, it's just great because it cuts a lot of the sizes at once. And then in the back of the pocket, what I have done, I think Shari has cute little bowls in her drawer. I do not, but what I have done is if I have just a little bit of sparkle cardstock that I haven't used up, I put into this bag, because then I'm able to die cut it. Or if I have die cut a bunch of hearts, but I'm not using them all, I'll put it in this bag, and then I kind of can fish around and, get what I need from it. Does that make sense? But you can see there's hearts and stars in here, all different kinds. And this is just kind of how I do it. So for the gold, we really just need one heart of each size. So what I think I'm going to do is go like this and like this. You most certainly can cut extra. And I'm going to hold them in place, and then we'll do this. Let's see. I like to use all of my sparkle cardstock. And then for the silver, it looks like I did one big, two medium, which I just happen to have left over from cutting, and two small. So one big, two medium, two small. And I'm going to go ahead and die cut these guys. Once I get them in here like this, I just put one more piece of tape to hold the dies in place. Because I am using little bits, I really don't want it to move on me. Go this way. Oh, that second piece of gold was moving. Let's see if I got out of it what I needed. I think I did. And for the gold, I just did one of each size. So here is my medium. I got two mediums out of it. I feel like I've used every piece of this, so that's going to be trash. But I'm going to put that second medium in my bag for another project, another day, right? And then one big and one small. Ooh, there's another medium here. But that one got cut off. Okay, so that is trash. All right, so one big, one medium, one small in gold, and one big, two medium, two small in silver. And then again, I just kind of put this back in my pouch and these guys back on the other side. So that's kind of how I do tiny stars. And so we'll go ahead and add those to our kits. The silver ones are going to go into Cozy Winter. So I'm just going to get them in there. Okay. And the gold ones are going to go into Have a Perfect Day. Okay. And then, of course, we have our stamped images as well. So I cannot wait to create these cards with you. Of course, we'll do a little bit of stamping. We're going to do some ink blending. We're going to use the new snowflake stencil. And then we're also going to use some lawnfawn inks, which I can share with you. Remember, there's that downloadable handout, so you'll have that to look at and refer to as well. But I'm going to be using Plastic Flamingo, Merman, and Moonshine. And then I also will be sharing my marker swatches for you guys for how I am coloring my kitties. So definitely check out the handout for a little bit more information and coloring guides. We'll go over all of the coloring and inking and assembling and glittering, all of the things during class. But as always, you can always reach out to Lawnfawn with questions. But if you have questions specific to this class, I'm happy to answer them, and you can email me at creative-chick@shirkus.com. I can't wait to see you guys in this free mini class. We will be live on October 9th. However, you can take the class after that date whenever it works into your schedule. And if you're new to these free mini classes, definitely check out the Create With Us page on lawnfawn's website because there's so many past classes. I think we're up to 30 now, so you can kind of look at the variety and pick and choose the classes you'd like to take pertaining on the supplies that you have. All right, you guys, I hope you all have a fabulous day, and I'll see you in class. Bye.